Hello, hello. This is really giving me first lockdown vibes. I haven't filmed in this spot in my bedroom in Nottingham in so long and it's giving me really weird deja vu. I've got the time to show my love what it's all about. Hey guys, so today I am doing a second installment of my BA Business Management Q&A. I did one of these back in first lockdown actually, funnily enough, talking all about my degree. Today I am back with a second year update, a second year version. Fill you in on the tea about how second year is going. I've structured this video based on the questions that were asked most frequently on Instagram. So if you ever do have any questions about my degree, then obviously feel free to put them down below in the comment section. But also in future, make sure to go and follow my Instagram page because then you can ask the questions when I ask for them on my stories. I'll put some timestamps down below in the description as well if you're only here to find out about one particular part of business management, because most of the questions are general questions. However, there are a few that will be specific to Leeds because I study at the University of Leeds. Okay, so getting straight into it, the first question was, what are the differences in modules between first and second year? So this is one of these questions where it is going to be Leeds specific. I know from research when I was applying to university that the modules do differ quite a bit between universities. However, in first semester, so last semester, I studied CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, how managers make decisions, management research and analysis, marketing and developing your potential, and then also a discovery module, which I'll talk about in a minute. So CSR is basically all about the ethical responsibilities of businesses and the challenges that they face to do with sustainability and ethical practice. This is a very practical and contextual module. A lot of it is based around case studies, which I personally find really interesting. It covers things like modern slavery, climate change, fair trade, ethical investment. This was probably my favourite module this semester, and the assessment for this is an online exam that is essay based and it is 100% of my mark for that module. Next we have how managers make decisions, and I know what you're thinking because I thought the same thing when I heard the title. Oh my god, this is going to be such an easy module. Why is this even a module? Why do I study this? However, it is probably the hardest module that I have because it's all about the thinking processes that happen when you make a decision or a judgment. So it's all about biases and heuristics. It's very theoretical. There are a lot of theories that you need to learn, and oh my god, sometimes it is so hard to get your head around because obviously it's quite psychological. And the assessment for this is another online exam that is essay based and is 100% of my mark. Next we have management research and analysis, and this is what it says on the tin really. It's all about collecting quantitative and qualitative I always mess that up, data and analysing it. Obviously it's coming from a management perspective, so a lot of the research and the data focuses on things like job satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and it's supposed to help a lot with your dissertation in third year and the research that you need to do for that. And then the assessment for this, I'm just going to read this off my laptop because I always forget, is a report analysing data with SPSS software, which is something that you learn to use in the module, and that is due in January and is worth 50% of my grade. And then this is one of the modules that stretches over semester 2 as well. So at the end of semester 2 I'll be expected to produce a research proposal, which is also worth 50% of my grade. Next we have marketing, and this is my second module that I also do in semester 2 as well. So far we have covered the marketing information system, marketing research, how to come up with a marketing strategy, and then second semester is apparently, according to the website, going to be more team-based work. I don't know how that's going to work. Obviously with online teaching, I don't know if they're going to change that, because they have been changing quite a few things recently, obviously because of the circumstances and how uncertain they are. There's also lots of case studies in this module. So we had a seminar at the start of the year where we did a SWOT analysis and a PESTLE analysis of TikTok, which was so interesting. I find marketing probably one of the most interesting modules, but also one of the easiest. But I don't know if that's just because of my position as an influencer and the fact that I do a lot of marketing in that, and I've also done work experience in marketing before. And the assessments for this module are a multiple choice question exam, which is in January and is worth 30% of my mark, and then in second semester an online exam which is worth 70%. And then my final module for semester 1, sorry this is taking so long, obviously if you don't find this interesting then feel free to skip along using the timestamps, is developing your potential. And this module always takes some explaining, but basically it's all about employability skills. So this semester we have covered 5 employability skills. I can't remember what they all are off the top of my head, but it was things like intercultural competency, leadership, enterprise skills, so entrepreneurship. And the assignments for this module were a video interview, which was worth 30% of my mark, and then also a reflective report, which is worth 70% of my mark. So moving on to second semester, as I said before, I still do marketing and I still do management research and analysis in second semester. However, I do have some other modules as well that are new. Obviously I haven't started studying these yet, so this information is just what I've extracted from the University of Leeds website, which I'll also link down below in the description. So firstly, we have managing in the digital workplace, and this is all about technology, so social media, computer cloud systems, AI, and all of the challenges and the threats that that presents as a manager of a company. And the assessment for this is 100% coursework, which is my favourite. I think it's an essay, which is great. I love that rather than actual exams. Next we have organisational behaviour in practice. So this is all about human relations, HR. It's all about people management and how to effectively engage and manage a workforce. And the assessment for this is 100% online exam. This module also builds on organisational behaviour from first year as well, so I think it's a lot more practical, whereas the first year OB module was very theoretical. And then lastly we have operations and supply chain management, and this is all about the various processes and the different stages involved in creating a product and selling it to the customer. So right from production to logistics to, I don't know, actually selling it in a shop. And the assessment for this is a report, which is 100% of my grade. So as you'll know if you've been doing some research into business management, lots of universities start to introduce optional modules in second year. However, Leeds doesn't really have any optional modules. Instead we have something that we also had in first year and you have in third year as well, called discovery modules. And this is basically 20 credits that you can take from any school whatsoever in the university. So for example, in first semester I took a 10 credit module from the School of Earth and Environment called Climate Change, Science and Impact, and this is all about climate change basically. It's all about the natural processes in the climate and then also the impacts that we as humans have on it as well. It's very sciencey. I know it's from a science-based school, however I don't think I in my head realised that it was going to be like degree level science. So this is probably one of my hardest modules, and it's 100% report based as well, which is due on the 7th of January and I have not done it yet. And then in second semester I'm taking a module from the School of Philosophy, Religion and History of Science, I think it's called, and that module is called Thinking About Race. As far as I know from my research, it's all about the sort of philosophy of race and the history of scientific thinking surrounding race. However, I am quite skeptical of this module because Leeds doesn't have very diverse teaching staff, and this module is taught by a white lecturer, so it's going to be interesting to see the angle of this module, but I am really looking forward to it. And the assessment for this is an essay worth 50% and then also a reflective log also worth 50%. Okay, so just a few general points about modules. This year I have found that it's a lot less maths based than first year, which is something I also got asked a lot of questions about. How much maths is there involved in business management? So in first year I had accounting and economics, which were both very maths and numbers based. This year I don't have accounting. You can choose to carry on accounting this year as a discovery module, but it's not part of the actual syllabus. You do still cover a little bit of economics, sort of behavioural economics, and then obviously economics is so integral to everything anyway that it's natural that it comes up in second year and also in third year. As I mentioned earlier, this year I found to be a lot more practical as well rather than theoretical. I think first year is just generally quite theoretical because they want you to get a basic understanding of everything, and then once you've got that basic understanding of business and accounting and economics, you are able to look at the more practical side of it and the case studies and actually understand them and be able to analyse them. Therefore, I've personally enjoyed the second year content a lot more than first year, obviously because there's less maths and I'm not a mathsy person, but also because I feel like the case studies and the practical side are so interesting. My commercial awareness has increased so much. Okay, so moving on to another question. This was another one that was asked a lot, and it is second year harder? Personally, I think in terms of content, second year isn't harder. It's also quite hard to compare because, as I've just gone through, the modules are literally completely different this year, apart from a couple that carry on from first year. So for me, I don't think this year has been harder. If anything, I think it's been easier, but that is because the modules this year play to my strengths a lot more than they did last year. So it's very, very relative. If maths is more your strength, then you might find first year easier. However, if maths isn't your strong point, then you might find second year easier, like I have. However, I think it is harder in the sense that the workload and the expectations increase a lot in comparison to first year. That also might just be because of online teaching though. It's quite hard for me to compare the years because obviously my first year and my second year have been completely different circumstances, completely different style of teaching and living. I think second year also has an added layer of pressure because it counts towards my final grade. So your grade in second year and your grade in final year forms the grade that you graduate with, whereas first year obviously doesn't count, so you don't really have that element of pressure to it. Your first year grade does still matter if you're applying for a placement though, or a year abroad. I think they want you to have at least a 2-1 or above. However, this year, once again, it hasn't really mattered for me. I don't have a first year grade because I didn't do the exams, they got cancelled. So for me, applying for my year abroad this year, it's not even based on academic merit. I think I just have to get a 2-1 and that's it. The next question is, how does the workload compare to other courses? I think this is kind of hard for me to comment on because obviously I've had limited exposure to other courses. I only ever really researched business management in depth. I wasn't really looking at any other options. However, as far as I know and as far as I can compare to other people that I know, it is an average workload. I'd say this semester, obviously bear in mind it's probably different because it's online teaching. This semester I've had around 6 live lectures a week, then probably like 5 pre-recorded ones, and then also work that you need to do before lectures and before seminars. Personally, I think it's quite a hefty workload. I wouldn't really want more than that, but I do know that other courses have a lot more. So for example, my housemate Megan studies maths and I think she's got like 20 hours or something ridiculous. So it is relative, and it's a weird course in the sense that it's practical but it's also theoretical, so I feel like that's why we have the amount of hours that we do. You are expected to do a lot of research and reading outside of your contact hours. That sort of nicely leads me on to the next question, which was, is there a lot of reading involved? So this year I'd say there is quite a bit of reading, however it's not really enforced on you. This year I have noticed that it is very much, well, if you want to first, then do the reading. If you don't want to first, then don't do the reading. University in general is just like that, really. The amount that you do does determine how well you do in the end. Like, you're not spoon-fed at all at university. It's actually sometimes quite difficult to get help, especially from lecturers. Like, I emailed my lecturer the other day and he answered 1 out of 4 of my questions. So, however, in general, I wouldn't say that I spend most of my time reading. I'd say I spend most of my time doing work before seminars and before lectures, so this can be quite varied work. It does sometimes require reading, but it also requires you to look at case studies, watch videos, watch documentaries, do research, read articles. It's not just all reading books. The next question I get asked a lot, and I feel like it's because business management does have a bit of a reputation, and it is it an easy course? Personally, I would say that business management is not easy. No degree I don't think is really easy. Like, there's always an element of it that's going to be difficult, and I feel like first year and second year have both been difficult, even though obviously first year didn't count. The content was still difficult. However, bear in mind that I didn't study business at A-level. I don't know if that's maybe why I found it more difficult. However, studying business at A-level only really helps you in first year. It doesn't really help you in second year because the modules get a lot more varied, and as I said, they're a lot more practical rather than theoretical, so I don't think it really makes a difference. Apologies if you can hear the pigeon that has just sat on my roof and is now making a fucking racket. The next question is sort of an amalgamation of lots of questions. So it is it an employable degree or is it too broad? And then also, what careers do you know people are looking into from business management? Obviously this is quite difficult for me to answer because I am only in second year. I haven't gone through the whole process of finding a graduate role yet, but as far as I know and as far as research shows, it is an employable degree. I mean, you can look at the stats yourself. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I do know that it is an employable degree. And in terms of it being too broad, I think that is very sort of relative to what you're looking to go into. Say you are looking to become an accountant, business management might be too broad just because of how little accountancy we actually study in it. So if you're looking to do something like that, then actually studying accounting and finance is probably more beneficial. But I'd say business management is just as broad as, you know, studying history or English literature. And in terms of careers that people are going into, because obviously it is quite broad, people are going into all sorts. So I know people looking into management consultancy, wealth management, investment banking, HR, marketing. Like, you can literally go into any element of business with it, which I think is a positive, not a negative, because employers often aren't looking for you to have really specific skills from your degree. They're just looking for transferable skills, which you can get from most degrees. I would say though that obviously business management is tailored more towards if you're looking to get management positions in the future and going into leadership roles. Another question that I always try to avoid, but I feel like I should probably talk about, is what career are you looking to go into personally? I don't really know still. I feel like I say this every time this comes up in a video, but I think I am looking towards marketing kind of roles, but I don't really know what yet. I just know that I enjoy marketing more than other things. I have looked into other streams, so I've looked into like sales and wealth management, but I feel like I'm always drawn back towards the creative aspect of marketing. However, I would also love to start my own business in the future, so I am looking at going down that route as well. This question is a little more Leeds specific, so if you're not interested in Leeds, then maybe skip ahead to the next question. But the question is, why didn't you do business management with marketing? What's the difference? So there are quite a few variations of business management at the University of Leeds. Obviously there is just the straight business management course, but then you also have a few joint honours. So business management with marketing is one of those, and I did look into it. However, the honest reason why I didn't do it is because I didn't think I'd get the grades. It's a much smaller course than the just generic business management course, so the grades are slightly higher for it, and I just didn't think I'd get them. In hindsight, knowing the A-level grades that I got, I think I would have applied for business management with marketing. However, at the time when I was looking at universities, I also didn't know which element of business I enjoyed most. I'd never studied things like accountancy and economics and OB. I didn't know how much I'd like them. So I wanted to go with the more broad option just so I could experience those modules as well. Especially because I already have quite a bit of marketing work experience. I didn't want to limit myself to that and then find that I actually didn't enjoy it that much. And as I mentioned earlier, you do study marketing in your second year, and you do have the option of taking more marketing modules as discovery modules, so there still is the opportunity to study it. I'm also looking into marketing masters as well, so that's why I'm not that bothered about the fact that I don't do the with marketing course. Okay, and the final question. Sorry this video has been so long, but I just wanted to cram as much information as I could into it. How can you look into business management further? You didn't study it at A-level. How did you know you wanted to study it at university? So I get asked this a lot, and fair enough, because I took history, English literature and biology at A-level, so really nothing to do with business. However, I personally developed an interest through my social media work. As I mentioned earlier, it does involve a lot of marketing, and I learned a lot about business through just doing this and all of the things that go behind the scene. I also developed an interest though through reading and podcasts and TV shows and films. I was always drawn towards business, especially the entrepreneurial aspects of it, so I think that's why I developed an interest. And let me know if you'd like me to do a video about my recommendations for business books and podcasts, etc., because that also really helps to form your personal statement as well. I started mine talking about a book that I'd read about business. I used a quote and I expanded on it and I made it relevant to me. So those are all the questions that I'm going to be answering in this video. Sorry it's ended up being so long, but I hope it's been informative, and if you did enjoy it, then make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also follow my social media, which will be linked down below in the description. Bye guys!